Hi, I'm Andra. I'm from TokenFlow, and I will be talking about data and how to do blockchain analytics in a different way, actually. So, wait. It messed up a bit my slides. First of all, who is TokenFlow? We are data providers for blockchain. We do a bit more than your usual Dune or Flipside or anybody else. And we are catered for advanced blockchain analytics. So anything that has to go very in-depth, think regulatory, think getting your predictions or how to do transfers and so on and so forth. So first and foremost, why should you care about blockchain analytics at all? You want to do these pretty graphs and that and that. And all of the dashboards that you will see on a lot of websites presenting how data exists and how stuff happens on blockchain. You have charts that go up, showing prices. You want to see how many transactions happen. You want to see how many people hold various tokens. Analytics are core to understanding what's happening on blockchain and how you make decisions. But what if they are wrong? And I'm going to go a bit technical and show you some smart contracts to understand how things are done now and what's wrong with what's going on today. Let's take a very simple example. I selected a very easy smart contract with wrapped Ether because it's very easy to understand and to explain in the time that we have today. And we want to see what are your top 10 holders. And here, there are all of these lovely addresses, and you can see the top one has roughly 500,000 wealth. In the pie chart, top one, all the way up, and here is the rest of top 10 holders. And you would write some very nice SQL code and get incoming transfers, outgoing transfers, combine everything together, and you will get these numbers. And as you can see, they're wrong, because the first top one has 6 million. Can anybody tell me what I have done wrong and why I got those numbers? Let's look a bit at the smart contract. The events that this smart contract uses is transfer, the one that I did in my query, but there's others. There's deposits and withdrawals. And given that this is a very easy smart contract, it's easy to understand that you actually need to put deposits and withdrawals to understand the amount of token that somebody has. So now if I update my queries, transfer deposits, add withdrawals, I get the right numbers. Since this is easy, it's easy to fix your mistakes. But think about the other smart contracts, which are very complex, and when you start going more in depth, any type of the tiny mistake will yield vastly different numbers. So, analytics based on events are prone to errors, so it depends on how good your analyst is, and also depend on what devs are adding to events. As you all know, events cost gas. So there's a tendency of removing events from contracts and putting them on networks like Shadow to ensure that you save gas whenever you deploy a smart contract. What's the alternative? Let's go back to the smart contract. Here I have my events, but I also have two other things. My storage, which is information that is mandatory to have in your smart contract in order to be able to process it. And there's this lovely variable here that is called balance of. So what if instead of adding all the events that have happened throughout the history, you can just query balance of, and you get the numbers that you want. When you're going to your bank, you're not starting to add what have I done yesterday and the day before and so on and so forth. You just go to the bottom of your account statement and you get your balance. And now this is possible. So pretty much some fancy SQL, because SQL, query my variable, and I get my numbers. And it's as easy as that. Why this wasn't done before? Because usually storage is not available, or it's available in a very hashed format that is impossible to query. At TokenFlow, we managed to extract storage and put it in analytical data set for you guys to be able to do your analytics. And more important, storage is always correct. By definition, this is how blockchains work. Storage is there, and it's always available on-chain. So there's less likely that somebody will remove storage because the contract will not function properly. So let's recap. Blockchain data is always correct, obviously, because if it's wrong, then the blockchain itself will be wrong. Analytics, well, it depends on who does it. It's easy to lie with numbers, so it depends. Event gives some of the answer, not all, when emitted and if used right. Why some of the answers? In some cases, think Uniswap. Every time you are collecting fees, events are not emitted. Because if you were to emit events every time you'd have to collect fees, the cost of those smart contracts would be huge. So events are only emitted when you collect the fees. So if you want to change your strategy, you need to know how much money you're due before you actually collect. That information is available in storage. So you'd be able to do your predictions and to adjust your strategy without having to collect your fees. So state and storage, always correct, always on chain. So that's our proposition. Now, this data is available. We have various tools that give you access. We have either on Snowflake or your standard data warehouses, technologies, Google BigQuery is coming soon, and we have a studio that is launched similar to Dune, where you'll be able to query this data and test it out for yourselves. You can scan the QR code, you land on our website, and you go from there. So I was quicker than expected. Questions. I wanted to leave some time for questions at the end. Anybody? Dune Analytics has data centered on events. So that's very easy to get. So your standard RPC methods give you events and calls. But there's not a standard RPC method that gives you storage. You need to go deep into the EVM to extract that data in a way that is queryable. Because if you go on Etherscan, you would see storage at the end of the transaction, but you don't know exactly what happens in that particular transaction, because one transaction is not just one smart contract. It can be call and call and call, so it's a nested suite of events.
That's another question.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How is it done?
We are replaying the entire chain, so we are focusing on EVM compliant chains, and we are replaying entire chains from Genesis, and we are extracting storage and storing it in nice, pretty SQL format tables.
Got it. Thank you.
Are you developing only on the Ethereum blockchain?
For the time being, yes. So layer 1, and we have also layer 2s, Starknet Optimus, Base, adding Arbitrum, and expanding. Yes?
Sorry, it's not really clear to me. So we can query some events when they are emitted.
Yes.
If you emit several events during the same transaction, the storage that is associated, it's exactly when the event is emitted inside the transaction.
So storage is changed and events are emitted if you want to notify people that something is happening. So every time something happens, storage needs to be changed. There's actually two aspects for storage. There's the regular storage, and following Dencun, there's transient storage. We also store transient storage.
Oh, good product.
More questions? If not, I can give the floor to the next presenter, and if you have questions, just come see me.